Welcome into a Wednesday edition of the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered live here by Ghost Chevrolet. Good Wednesday morning to you. Thank you for starting your day with us. If you don't mind, hit that like button, share button, comment button, as we'll be here until 9 a.m. this morning. We're going to talk to LSU head basketball coach Matt McMahon is going to be on with us at 8:45 this morning, right before we get out of here at 9 a.m. Coach McMahon and his crew, I think we should give him a standing ovation when he comes. I really do. The job that Matt McMahon and the LSU staff has done, I think, has really surprised everybody. Whether you were fired up and at level 10 for the hire, or whether you were a naysayer and negative about the hire and just the state of LSU basketball, one thing is for certain: you cannot knock the hustle that Matt McMahon and his staff have been on since landing the job just over 7 weeks ago. They added another 4-star basketball recruit yesterday, as Sean Phillips, the 7-foot center, pledged his commitment to LSU, signed his letter of intent out of Glendale, Arizona. He was a native of Dayton, Ohio, but he prepped last season down at Dream City Christian High School in Glendale, Arizona. He was named the Defensive Player of the Year in that league. He averaged 15 points, 14 boards, and 4 blocks per game. He joins prep signees Tyrell Ward, Jalen Reed, and now Sean Phillips coming in as high school signees. And with that work that they've done in the high school recruiting portion, and how they just cleaned up in the transfer portal and were able to keep key figures like Adam Miller, Justice Williams, and Mwani Wilkinson, is just it is an amazing job that I don't know if we can describe just how good it is. It without sounding like I'm lost in the moment or hyper, I cannot think of a better job that anybody has done in building a roster like Matt McMahon and his staff have done. They have gone from truly being outsiders of, being competitive next season in the SEC to being a top 25 team, and a team I think expected to make a tournament push and make a run at the league. So we're going to talk to the coach coming up here at 8:45 this morning. I'm really looking forward to talking to Coach McMahon, as now they have 13 scholarship basketball players.
Did people expect him
LSU
to be able to recruit like this?
No way. No way. Not at this level. Even the people who knew McMahon the most and were most positive about him, I think, even wake up this morning with a little bit of, wow.
I know.
I mean, it's just amazing the job and work that McMahon has done. There's no superlatives. There's no words that really can describe it for as good as it is. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't think that we even really, looking at the names on paper, understand how good of a job it is. But we'll talk to Coach McMahon coming up here at 8:45 this morning, and really looking forward to that conversation. Start to see what some of the offseason plans are. I mean, now he's got his team in place. He's got his roster set, so he knows what they're going to look like, what they're going to feel like this offseason. So
we were
really
worried, through the summer. He's not going to have a whole team through the summer.
Man,
what are we going to do?
How he was going to walk a team out there next fall, in October. Here you are. You're not even to the summer yet, and he's got a top 25 team.
Yeah,
it is. It's fantastic to see. We'll talk all about NBA draft lottery last night that was determined during the NBA playoff game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals last night. Jimmy Butler and the Miami Heat take game 1 past Boston, as the Celtics missing a couple of key figures, including Al Horford last night, who was ruled out before the game due to NBA safety and protocol. So you wonder what the effect of Horford being out is going to have on that series. As big as he was in that Milwaukee series, obviously they miss his presence last night with Boston and the Celtics in Game 1 versus Miami. We'll talk all about that. Remember to hit that like button, share button, and comment button, as we are appreciative of that. We're also live on Twitter this morning for the second consecutive day. So if you're watching on Twitter and you're scrolling through, you can click there and interact with the show as well. So we appreciate you being here and starting your day with us. Cody Worsham is going to be here in 30 minutes. We'll talk to Cody, who was on the Tiger Tour with Matt McMahon through the last couple of weeks, traveling around the state. We'll ask him some of the feedback that the coaches saw there with obviously Brian Kelly and Matt McMahon and Kim Mulkey, some of the figures and some of the things, the feedback that they saw from traveling around the state. We'll also get his thoughts on what's going on with LSU basketball, some of the offseason storylines for LSU football. So if you have a question for Cody Worsham, jump inside of the chat app, and we can ask Cody coming up here at 7:30. Then Ben Baby will be here at 8:15 this morning. Baby talking about Joe Burrow and the Bengals getting back onto the practice field yesterday for off-season training activities. Now with a Super Bowl under their belt, what's the motivation for Burrow and the boys here heading into year 3 for Burrow, year 2 for Jamar Chase and the crew, and what was his thoughts of the draft, the schedule, what do they anticipate coming down to New Orleans with the Saints hosting Cincinnati in the regular season. So a lot to get to with Ben Baby, Cody Worsham, and, of course, Matt McMahon coming up here. And then your mailbag questions. Still an opportunity to get your questions in via mailbag. If you have any, jump inside and ask the mailbag questions, whatever you may have, and we will have them a part of today's show here. Just hashtag mailbag coming up at some point, probably 8 a.m., 8:15 this morning. We will, or 8:30, we will get to the mailbag questions. Jamil is here. Stewie is here. The Carpool Queen is here.
I looked at tickets last night for the Bengals-Saints game when the Saints put out their schedule. How
much?
I mean, the good old seats were like $4,000. But, I mean, just to get, like, you know, a pretty decent seat, I mean, it was like around $400 a ticket.
Sure.
I mean, crazy.
And going up.
Hell yeah.
I think it'll be going through the roof, especially if the Saints start off the season well.
I know.
What week is it? 6?
I think it was 6.
Yeah, week 6.
Yeah, it was kind of in the
I believe it's
middle.
the first week that games can be flexed in the league. So I think there was just from the league office, there was a thought there that this still could be a primetime game. I think there's still an opportunity that you can still make this a primetime game. But right now it's scheduled for noon, a part of week 6 of the NFL action. Remember, daily, we're brought to you by Go Chevrolet, online at GEAUXChevrolet.com. GEAUXChevrolet.com to pick out your new car. Just stop in at the LaPlace car lot over there at Go Chevrolet, located in LaPlace, just off I-10. And if you're looking for a used car over here in Baton Rouge, Go Express Auto Sales. If you're following Nick Richard, Lee Carney, Go Chevrolet on social media, which you should be, you see the brand is growing throughout Tennessee. They have opened up another dealership in that part of the country. So Go Chevrolet really experiencing a lot of early success here, a part of their new car journey of just not even 2 years in business, and seeing dealerships start to pop up in more places. So shout out to Go Chevrolet for always bringing you our product every day here. And as always, we're brought to you by True Blue Water. If you want to jump on the delivery route, you can at trubluewater.com, truebluewater.com. Our phone line is brought to you by Metropolitan Health Group. Real doctors, real solutions. Stop in and see Jason Ramazan and Charlie Harvey today and tell them you heard it here on the Jordy Culotta Show. We always appreciate their support. So, man, what a day for Matt McMahon yesterday. We'll start there. There's not too much more that I can say that we mentioned in the start of the show, but just the work that McMahon and his staff have been able to put together. Like we said, I mean, they have signed transfers: Kendall Coleman, Justice Hill, Trey Hannibal, KJ Williams, Cam Hayes, Derek Fountain.
I feel like I should ring the bell for that one.
Yeah, from Mississippi State.
Please don't.
I know.
But putting this roster together, and then the latest signing, as we said yesterday, was Sean Phillips, the 7-footer, which was another position of really need here. You saw that they were able to pick up, a center in recruiting in KJ Williams, who transferred in, but they still had a need for some depth at that spot. And Sean Phillips was the best available from a high school standpoint when you talk about just his size and his capability. We mentioned his numbers, averaging 15 boards and 4 blocks last season to go along with his 15 points offensively. But, I mean, he's got a special, unique skill set that will definitely help LSU out immediately, and it was something that LSU needed. Not only is it so impressive what Matt McMahon and his staff were able to do by putting players together and getting them to LSU and selling the program, but really they were able to do it strategically. I mean, they were able to put together a really good matchup standpoint, from a matchup of a roster standpoint, so some really good pieces that should fit together when they have a chance to see him on the court. So, like I said, man, I was very much early on curious and wondering if Matt McMahon was going to be able to recruit at this level. This was the first time that he had gotten to a Power 5 school. Obviously, the state of the program in which he took over with LSU was it felt like it was in the graveyard. And the work that he's been able to do over the last 7 weeks, I just don't know if there is a phrase, a superlative that could really wrap it up and give it its justice, because
he proved himself
beyond anywhere that would have been best case scenario. Mm-hmm. This is past the best case scenario by legions. I mean, this is so far and away better than anything that anyone could expect. It's just an incredible job and an incredible body of work for McMahon, his staff, his crew, and really kind of leaves you kind of back into the state where you were feeling about basketball. I mean, I think that there's going to start to be a growing buzz around the season, the closer that it gets, because on paper this looks like a really fun team potentially to watch.
Well, yeah, it does. We were having this exact same conversation this time last year because the team was looking so great. And it was a great team. And we didn't think we were going to have that again this year, and here we are. It's
going to be fun to follow this team and get them on the floor and just kind of watch how it happens. But we'll talk to Matt McMahon about it coming up here at 8:45 this morning, and looking forward to that conversation.
Can we watch any practices, do you think?
I don't know. I don't know.
Sneak up in there.
Katie, you might be
days?
asking for a little too much. It's a little early for the practice access, I mean, you might be asking for a little bit too much.
Jordy can make it happen.
We'll see. Our basketball conversation is always brought to you by our friends over at Edward Jones, Daniel Newman. If you need financial advice, remember to get in touch with Newman at daniel.newman@edwardjones.com. Newman and I were sharing a couple of text messages yesterday after the news came down of Sean Phillips, and obviously he's elated, ready to jump through the roof over there in central Louisiana. But he can help you with your fiscal advice if you're looking for some investment strategies, if you're looking for a couple of stocks to look out for over the next couple of days or weeks. Get in touch with Daniel. Daniel.Newman@edwardjones.com is where you can find him online. Easy way to email him is probably the easiest way to get in touch with him is by emailing Daniel.Newman@edwardjones.com. As we said, he's located in central Louisiana, right there at Magnolia Square Drive, across from Stabs. So if you need to go sit down, have some things that you need to ask just from a financial standpoint, let Daniel Newman help you today. Daniel.Newman@edwardjones.com. Daniel.Newman@edwardjones.com. So Matt McMahon will be here talking more LSU basketball at the end of hour 2 today. Last night, the NBA, and we're going to talk to Cody Worsham coming up here in about 10 minutes. So we'll get back to a little bit more about what's happening on campus with some of the programs, including Matt McMahon's LSU basketball program, which, as we said, leaves a lot of room for excitement before now and tip-off coming in November. But last night, the NBA draft lottery had everybody kind of from a NBA standpoint or a basketball standpoint paying attention in this part of the country, because the Los Angeles Lakers had dealt away their draft pick in the Anthony Davis trade from a couple of years ago, and this is one of the final pieces of that trade that the Pelicans are still hanging on to and still have ownership over. And last night it was determined after the lottery had gone down before tip-off of the Eastern Conference Finals last night that the Pelicans are going to have the number 8 pick in the draft. And just to give you an idea of the draft order, Orlando won the lottery. They have the number 1 overall pick. Orlando had a 14% chance to get that top pick, along with Houston and Detroit. Oklahoma City ended up with the 2nd overall pick. Houston came in the 3rd slot. Sacramento got the 4th pick, and Detroit rounded out the top 5 as far as the top 5 of the lottery was concerned last night. Indiana at 6, Portland at 7, New Orleans, as we said, via Los Angeles in that trade, end up in the 8th spot. San Antonio at 9, the Wizards at 10, Knicks at 11, Thunder back in at 12. That's via the Los Angeles Clippers a couple of years ago with that Paul George trade. And then the Charlotte Hornets and Cleveland Cavaliers round out the top 14 picks coming up in June's draft. So Pelicans at 8. It'll be interesting to see. I've seen A.J. Griffin's name pop up a little bit from Duke. But, I think that's the part of the draft, or at least it is in a lot of years where, look, you kind of know who the top 4 prospects are, and then after that it's kind of a shuffle and see where people land. Look, last summer at this time, I think everybody would have said get somebody else in there from David Griffin's standpoint and allow them to make the pick. But at this point of the juncture, Griffin and his staff have built up a lot of equity and trust with the fan base and the people around the organization that they deserve, obviously, to make this choice coming off of the success last season. So it'll be intriguing to see where Willie Green, David Griffin, and the entire Pelican staff go for the number 8 overall pick. But that's where they are, number 8 pick in the June draft, and we'll see where they land and some of the names that could pop up there with that top 10 selection. If you're paying attention to the G League tryouts that are happening right now and some of the pre-draft camps that are going on around the country, Sharif O'Neal and Darius Days are very much having a lot of success. It looks like Tari Eason's actually going to be a lottery pick. I've seen some mock drafts come out over the last 8 or 9 hours since the draft has been announced that has Tari going as high as 11 to the Knicks. Really? And I've seen the most consistent spot is 13 with the Charlotte Hornets. Either way, that puts him inside the lottery, which was a tremendous jump for Eason coming and transferring from Cincinnati to see his game grow and develop into a lottery pick is an enormous success story that the LSU basketball program can sell if that in fact does happen. So Sharif O'Neal is another prospect that a lot of people have been asking about and been curious about on what his next plans are going to be, where he's going to be next. He had a really good showing yesterday at the G League camp, where he was really showing off his entire game. Defensively, he was rebounding the basketball. There's a clip out there of him rebounding the ball and kind of controlling it up the floor and setting up a fast break layup with a back cut bounce pass that he puts right on somebody for an easy for an easy bucket. So I really believe that Sharif, out of all of the players left, I don't think, I think it's easy to assume he's not coming back to LSU. And now
Bummer.
They don't have a spot.
Yeah, I know. Isn't that weird?
More than anything,
that's not the reason.
One of the things that you always thought that Sharif would have the opportunity, if he wanted to come back, he would obviously have a roster spot. But now with what McMahon and staff have done, those spots are gone. They got 13 scholarship players now, and that's Sharif wild. Really looks like he is he's flourishing at that camp where he's really shelling out. And to be honest, I think his game is more suited for the NBA than it is SEC and college basketball. I really do. And look, he battled some injuries over the last couple of years where it was tough to keep him consistently on the floor. But when he was able to extend his minutes, I think we saw some shining spots from Sharif on just what he could add to the team. And he was definitely a different dynamic. He was a more versatile player that could help you out in a couple of spots. And in the NBA, that's really kind of the name of the game, where you've got these, you've got these unnumbered players. You don't have a true one. You don't have a true shooting guard. You don't have a true small forward or a power forward or a center. You've just kind of got 5 long, athletic, skilled guys that can guard any position. A lot of nights on the NBA floor, the 1 can guard the 5. The 3 can guard the 2. There's just a lot of matchups that, now is when you look at it, it's tough to decipher where people are on the floor. Who's the true point guard? Well, he can handle the ball, he can bring it up, or he can be the point guard, or he can be the shooting guard. He can post you up down low. He can play with his back to the back. There's just all types of skill sets now in the NBA when you look at rosters and players and what they can do. So Sharif fits that to me a little bit better than being, kind of cornered into a position or asked to have and do something just very specific. He can do a wide range of things on the basketball floor, and I think the NBA is better suited for that.
I hope that's true. I hope he succeeds there. He needs it. We didn't see enough from him.
And it's, I think I think that Sharif's game does translate to that level. I mean, he's got to stay healthy. And like I said, we've told some stories here about Shaq, calling Will Wade consistently over the last 2 years and telling Wade really to toughen Sharif up. And Wade was like, Shaq, I mean, he was born on a private plane. And I know Shaq makes the comment that, I'm rich, my kids aren't. Yeah, but I mean, your kids are showing up with a new car, every semester and, wearing houses around their necks and on their wrists that, other kids just can't really relate to. And that's not Sharif's fault. I think that's just the world and the background that he comes from. But, asking him to grind and asking him to really toughen up, I think was a hell of a task for LSU basketball over the last couple of years. And combined with that, he couldn't really stay on the floor consistently. I mean, his health was always kind of nagging at him. So in the NBA, they don't care if you're Shaq's son.
No, they don't.
They have a lot of lineage players in the league that have to go out there and earn it. I mean, look at the story of Gary Payton Jr. And that guy bounced all over the place until he found a home in Golden State. And if it would have been because of the reputation of his dad, he'd have been a starting point guard somewhere. It's just that's not how it works. And Sharif is going to have to earn every stripe that he gets as far as earning his NBA chops. And, that may be the best place for him. And that's a place where you'll either toughen up or you'll be smoked out. You know what I mean? Or, you won't be allowed in. So, I think that's probably the best place for Sharif. And it's good to see Darius Days having and making some plays in the pre-draft camp. Hopefully he could, he can find a spot and jump on somewhere and have some sticking room and power with whoever may pick him up. But it looks like the LSU guys and the LSU contingent, whether it's Tari Eason, who looks like he's going to be a lottery pick, a late lottery pick, or it's Sharif, who looks like he's really making some headway of raising the interest of G League scouts and general managers, or it's Darius Days, who I think we all believe it's a long shot for him to be drafted, but I think if somebody takes a chance on him, whether it's late or through free agency, you get a player that has some skill that could translate to the league, or he may end up playing at in the G League or overseas. Donnie T, Jordy, you're not making any sense saying that he's not tough enough, but he can play in the NBA. Look, he's been battled by injury in college basketball, and he's not been able to get on the floor consistently in the NBA. There's also been some feeling around Sharif at LSU was, is he really on the shelf? Does he have to stay on the shelf this long? Is it time for him to play? Is he ready to play? And they could never get to a consistent point. I think in the NBA, if that's going to be the story, soon enough, it's just not going to work. Somebody's just going to say, "Hey, look, man, we took a chance, and you can't stay on the floor, you can't stay healthy. We're gonna have to move on." And if he's serious about playing basketball, his game translates to the league. I think his game is NBA, but he's gonna have to prove that. If you're dealing with a foot injury and you're okay and you're ready to go, you can't sit back for 2 more weeks and take 2 more weeks off. In the league, they're just going to find somebody else that can step up and take that spot. So I think if Sharif is real about chasing this dream and playing, he can play at that level. I think his game is fine. But, college basketball may not be the best place for him to toughen up because he can get away with things here. Especially at LSU. In Milwaukee or Atlanta or, Oklahoma City, they're going to either say, look, you're cleared to play, and if you're not ready to go, they're going to have to find somebody that can. And that'll, I think that will toughen him up, at least mentally, quicker than college basketball can. So I'm sorry if that's confusing, but it's just kind of how I feel about it in the sense that his game translates better to the league. And mentally, he needs to get a little stronger, and that may be the best place to do it.
Mm-hmm. We will see.
Yeah, we will. We're going to talk to Cody Worsham about it and see what his thoughts are on Sharif, the LSU basketball team, the job that Matt McMahon has done, and get some of the off-season stories here for LSU football. Brian Kelly and his staff obviously are doing work and have done work. They're coming out of spring drills. They're going through the off season. We'll ask him about Cody Worsham. We'll ask him about some of the feedback that they got while being out on the trail this short off season in the summer, and what some of the feedback has been from LSU. Remember, Daily, we're brought to you by Fresh Chef Kitchen. Chef prepared meals for everyone. You can pre-order your meals or visit the store to purchase from the retail cooler. Easiest way to do it is just log online at freshchefeats.com. Freshchefeats.com is where you can find them online. As we said, they're located they're located here in town on Airline Highway, 14111 Airline Highway, 14111 Airline Highway is where you can find them. But Fresh Chef Kitchen is online at freshchefeats.com. Pre-made meals. As we said, Andre Anthony, who was drafted by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, really kind of put the nutrition part of his draft journey into the hands of Fresh Chef Kitchen, and it really paid off. Andre is a very proud spokesperson for Fresh Chef and has talked about the products. We have him over here in the studio, whether it's breakfast, whether it's lunch. The pre-made meals are fantastic, very easy to warm up and get ready to eat, and really it's very convenient. It takes a lot of the stress level off of a post-workout, or if you're looking for a healthy meal and you don't know how to get it, or you're a little concerned on how you get to a real fresh, healthy meal for all squares of the day, look up online, freshchefeats.com, and let Shane and his crew take care of it for you. They've done it for us, man, and it's been awesome. Freshchefeats.com, online. Fresh Chef Kitchen is a proud supporter here of the Jordy Culotta Show. Make sure and tell him that you heard it here. Next, we will talk to Cody Worsham here, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet. Go Chevrolet is proud to announce Go Express Auto Sales, the new used car lot located in the capital city of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, at 11522 Florida Boulevard. Go Express Auto Sales is online at goexpressautosales.com, or you can search them on Facebook and social media at Go Express Auto Sales, the newest addition to the family of Go Chevrolet. Remember, Go Chevrolet is located down in Laplace, Louisiana, but now welcoming aboard Go Express, the new used car lot located in Baton Rouge, Louisiana at 11522 Florida Boulevard. True Blue Water, true hydration at its finest. Right now, you're only a few minutes away from getting your 5-gallon water delivered to you, just like we are over here at the UDL. All you got to do is log on to truebluewater.com. That's TRU bluewater.com. The website's fantastic over at truebluewater.com. You can get your service and find out how quick it is. You can schedule a delivery, even hop on the billing system right there at truebluewater.com. TRU bluewater.com.
The Jordy Culotta Show is brought to you by A-Bears Lawn Maintenance. Commercial or residential, A-Bears Lawn Maintenance is ready to work. A-Bears can tackle all your homeowners association requirements. Call Blake at 225-485-8022. A-Bears Lawn Maintenance.
Papa Earl's, the fine spice, originating right down here in South Louisiana by our guy Mark Pop Norman. Developed it back in 2018 and won Amazon's Newcomer of the Year in 2019. They pride themselves in having 30% less salt and sodium than the leading brands at the same price point. You can find them locally. Look for Papa Earl's at Rouse's, Calandro's, Mathern's, High Neighbor, and more.
I remember going to the Tennessee camp.
Oh, this is a great story.
And I had locked everybody up.
Yeah.
Like, literally, I was licking my chops, and I'm like, yo.
Jarvis and Ozell were there, right?
Everybody was there. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like, all y'all get in line. Like, everybody, come on. I'm going to go
Get back in line.
I'm going to go rep after rep. And then it really kind of turned into a show where none of the DBs wanted to go.
Yeah.
None of the receivers wanted to go. It was literally, then it turned into me and Jarvis.
Right.
Just one-on-one. You know what I mean? So,
Hey y'all, it's Mikey from Mic'd Up. Catch us live every Monday and Wednesday, 11 to 1. Talk gambling, talk sports, have a ton of guests in here, get a little perspective from the athlete side of it. We got Lloyd in the house, Jay Mitch is in here a lot of the time. It's a fun show, great show. Please like, subscribe, share with your friends. If you don't like it, it's fine. Make fun of us, it's okay. Just get us out there, share us out there. We're having fun, we want to share our fun with you. Like I said, Mic'd Up, brought to you by Sterling Automotive. Every Monday through Wednesday, 11 to 1. Catch us live on YouTube, baby. See y'all.
Southern Eye Centers, located at 6859 Jefferson Highway right here in Baton Rouge, has been serving your eyes for over 40 years in the capital region. They offer friendly service in a helpful environment with the highest level of personal care to manage your eye health and vision needs. If you want more information, log online to southerneyecenters.com. That is southerneyecenters.com. Stop in and check out their beautiful office located on Jefferson Highway right here in the capital city. And remember, each time you walk in there and you mention the Jordy Culotta Show, Dr. Ann Shaw and Southern Eye Centers will take 25% off of their fantastic selection of sunglasses. All you got to do is mention the Jordy Culotta Show. Check them out. southerneyecenters.com and located at 6859 Jefferson Highway. All right, welcome back here to the Jordy Culotta Show, live, powered and driven by Ghost Chevrolet here on this Wednesday. Make sure you check out the John Emery interview from yesterday. Emery was in studio talking about his journey to get to his senior year and really the expectation he has for himself. It's good insight. Emery seems like he is ready to bust out. Physically, he looks ready. Mentally, he sounds ready. And if you talk to some of the coaches and players around the building, it really seems like he is going to be the centerpiece of the LSU offense coming up this fall. That conversation is brought back to you by rmbbuilders.com, rmb-builders.com. Rhett Bourgeois and our friends always taking care of us on our on-demand stuff and our podcasted stuff. Cody Worsham is a good friend of our show. He's over at LSU. He's done a lot of stuff over there. He hosts podcasts. He's up in the executive committee. You look up on the Tiger Tour, and he's hosting that as the coaches are circling around the state and really spreading the message, the new message of LSU athletics. Cody Worsham is right there, a part of all of that, and he's kind enough to stop into studio with us here on this Wednesday morning on his way into campus here on this Wednesday morning. Good to see you, buddy. Good morning.
What's up? Good to be here.
We would have to start this conversation around basketball, right? I mean, like, there's so much that I'd like to talk to you about because there's so much that's gone on campus over the last couple of weeks and months that we can really break down from a sports standpoint. But with the job that Matt McMahon has done in just, I believe, 7 weeks on the job.
Yeah, it's unreal.
I don't know if there is a word. I was saying in the intro, I don't know if there's a superlative, a phrase, if there's anything that we can put out there to describe. And we may not even understand how good of a job he's done to put 13 scholarship players in the boat 7 weeks after where they're coming from.
We don't understand.
Yeah,
it.
sometimes my job is difficult. You know, I have to tell people that everything's going to be okay when
Right.
when things are going poorly, or that everything is okay. So if you'd have told me 7 weeks ago or 6 weeks ago, hey, you know, we have no scholarship players, but Cody, go tell everyone that everything's going to be okay with LSU basketball, I'd have been hard-pressed to come up with some talking points. Today it's a lot easier. The job they've done with the roster rebuild is insane. Like, I've tweeted the numbers a couple times off the top of my head. It's like 5 to 6 top 100 guys coming out of high school, 2 5-star transfers, a 5-star high school signing, number 1 transfer class in the country, number 16 high school class in the country, with literally no time to even – organize a recruiting board. It was just calls, texts, on the road, getting after it. So it's a credit to them, and you just think what the possibilities are when they have a full season to have a staff that's in place and build out a recruiting plan. He's extremely detail oriented. He's got this log where he logs everything he does on the recruiting trail every day, and it's just everything is detailed and planned out, and then he he really sells the LSU brand and believes in it and is invested in it, and the kids are picking up on it too. And so obviously the connections with Murray State were huge, and getting KJ Williams and Juice Hill, like that's 2 5-star transfers right there. So those were huge. But the fact that those guys followed him here, I mean, speaks a lot to sometimes when a coach leaves. I've seen this at other places. Coach leaves is like, good. I'm glad that guy's gone. He was rough on me. These guys followed him. They left a place they were very comfortable at with a very strong basketball culture and that won 30-plus games. And they said, I'm going to go with Coach McMahon. So speaks a lot to the relationship that he's able to build with his players.
Last Saturday night, we hosted the Louisiana Basketball Coaches Association banquet here in town, which was always a fun event to get all the basketball minds and power into one place. And McMahon sat right next to me at the podium, and we had a chance just to kind of go back and forth on some small talk. And, I mean, he's a real cool, calm guy. He's kind of got a sense of humor. I mean, he was urging me to kind of like to quicken it up so we get to the second half and watch John Morant in the Memphis Grizzlies game, which I kind of thought was, it showed you kind of how loose he is, but you could get the attention to detail stuff that you talked about. What were some of the things of his personality that you picked up, whether it was Tiger Tour around the state or just kind of day in, day out around campus?
I mean, every day I see him on campus, he's outside the admin building pacing, and he's got his earbuds in and he's on the phone with somebody. So he's constantly working, even though the rosters got done. The thing that I've been joking with him on, I'm like, Coach, you got to get your social media updated. Like, the last post you had was Murray State. Like, we got to get on brand here. And he's like, I'll get there. Just give me a second. I got to build a roster first. So
a little more important.
Yeah, there's priorities. Look, I deal with the dumb stuff. He's dealing with the important stuff. And so he's been real focused on that and just working his tail off to get that done. Real commitment to that work ethic. Definitely puts a high priority on the people he surrounds himself with. So he's very deliberate about the staff that he built. And he trusts those guys. And I mean, no detail is too small for him. No, he will have some social media stuff coming up soon, and he was very involved in crafting that and being intentional about that. He's really values driven. I mean, he talks about his values all the time. We're walking through the facility and talking about some of the things that he wanted to do, and he wants to put his values up everywhere. That's important to him and really drives what he does. So I think he's hitting the ground running. He's working really hard, but the biggest thing to me, he always talks about the LSU brand. As somebody that cares about the LSU brand,
sure.
It's a draw to him. It was a big draw to him. It's something that he sells. He believes it's one of the most iconic brands in college sports, and so he's using that to go out there and sell kids when coming here, and the passion of our fan base. He really believes in that and is invested in it. So it's exciting to see.
Chief Brand Officer from LSU, Cody Worsham, on set with us here this morning, part of the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet. I know that you're in on executive meetings. You know what's going on from the athletic standpoint. I don't know how to ask it. Does he know what he's selling? Does he know? I mean, the future of LSU basketball, I think, is a little uncertain, at least from the public standpoint, but internally, does he have an idea of what could be coming, or? I
don't think so. I don't think that when it comes to NCAA, I don't think anybody knows what's coming next at any time, and I don't mean just at LSU. I mean anywhere. The NCAA doesn't tip their hand on these things very much. I think he's just sort of operating under the assumption that whatever happens, he's going to be in control and be able to build the program that he wants to build, and so there's that stability. There's the uncertainty of what's the NCAA going to come in and do and address the issues of the past. That's out of his control. It's out of our control. We'll have our job to do on the compliance side, and Matt Jacobek and his team do a great job with all that stuff. So they'll handle that, and they'll be working hard to handle it. But from his perspective, I think it's just, look, I can't control that. What I can control is the way I run my program, the way that I coach my team, the type of people that I bring into my program. So I think that's been his heavy focus. You spend a little time with him, it's hard not to buy into that vision because he really believes in it, and so he's able to sell it effectively.
I believe that Sean Eddy had a tremendous part of Adam Miller coming back.
Yeah, no
the
question.
Relationship that they were able to build through rehab and the trust that Miller was able to gain with that part of the program. You were able to see him during last season's off-season training and through the first part of training camp before the knee injury. For those who have not seen him play, what does he provide LSU basketball now that he's in the boat?
Everything they were missing last year. I mean, he'll knock down the open shot from the outside. He can create. He's tenacious off the bounce, gets to the rim, has a mid-range game, draws a lot of fouls, and then defensively he's tenacious. He's a competitor. He's fearless. I've been looking forward to seeing him play, so when he put his name in the portal, I was personally sad because just as a basketball fan, I wanted to see that player at LSU. Now, is he a guy that's going to come in and be like Cam Thomas and drop 30 on any given night? Probably not. Now, he can get there. Don't get me wrong. But he's going to be a super, super consistent 16 to 18 to those nights that he gets in the 20s. But it's the two-way approach, the way that he can guard on the other end. It's the fact that he's got kind of an unorthodox game with the left-handed. It's a small thing, but it makes a difference. He's got some craft around the rim. But to me, it's the attitude and the demeanor. I mean, I sat down with him last year when he was rehabbing.
Yeah, that was a great interview.
I didn't do anything. I just asked him a couple questions. He just took that thing and ran with it. He's got this spirit about him and this belief and this toughness, this Chicago toughness that, I mean, if I'm his teammate, I want to go to war with that guy. I want that guy next to me. So he's got that about him, which is exciting. And then I think from day one, Coach McMahon and his staff made that a priority. Was, hey, let's keep Adam Miller here. I think absolutely Sean Eddy, the relationship they built through the rehab process, there's a trust there, and I think there was a trust developed with Coach McMahon. I think there was one day, it was a couple Fridays back, where we were walking over to the PMAC for an event, and I saw Coach and Adam Miller walking. I just gave myself a little fist bump. That's good. They're talking. Those conversations are happening. Right. So it paid off.
We will talk more about LSU basketball with Matt McMahon coming up here at 8:45 this morning. So set your alerts and make sure that you're here, because we will go specifically into the program with Coach McMahon and just the incredible work that he and his staff have been doing for the last 7 weeks. You've been traveling the state with Brian Kelly. What has been the feedback on the new LSU head football coach?
It's been great. I mean, he's great in that setting. That get around the fans and the donors and have those conversations and sell them on the vision. And he's been great. He's really committed to this vision, and it's such a transition for LSU football. It's been NFLSU. It's been, I mean, you've heard kids outright say it, hey, come in, get your 3 years, and then get out, right, and get to the next level. And that's great. Like, if you have that opportunity, that's great. I'm not downplaying that. He's really selling this vision of graduate champions. Come in, get your degree, compete for a championship, and then leave and make your life and the lives around you better when you leave. So that's the big vision. Just the structure and the attention to detail. But he's extremely on the ball with everything he's doing. He knows everything that's going on. He's got a plan for everything that's going on. He's got a plan for stuff that's not going on yet, but he thinks it's going to be coming down the pipeline. So everything from NIL to transfer portal to countable scholarships to nutrition, every single thing he's aware of, he's involved with. He's got people that he trusts around him. He's empowering them to do their job. So it's a very holistic approach, and it's a very different approach. It's much more structured, much more organized. It takes time to get those pieces in place, but now that they're getting in place and have been in place, it's going to be exciting to see where it can go.
Tremendous staff.
Incredible staff, and incredibly, as somebody that's going to put microphones in front of their face and ask them questions, I'm excited to talk to them, because just the little media that we've gotten from Robert Steeples and Jamar Kane and Joe Sloan, all those guys, you put a microphone in front of their face and they're incredible. I mean, they have a lot to say. They're very well spoken, and just like him, there's that attention to detail. There's that focus. There's that clarity of vision and values and goals that is, to me, I've been around a lot of coaches. It's pretty rare. I mean, a lot of coaches are in it for the competition and their former players, and they've got and these guys are the same way, but they've got that extra gear to them that's special to see.
The vantage point of NIL from your office, from the people that are around your offices right now, it seems like it's trying to form some type of limitation or regulation over it. How are you all watching this? What is the action that you take of NIL with, it seems like, change on the horizon?
Yeah, Taylor Jacobs in our department's done a great job. It's been we've called it, building a plane as you're flying it, and I think we're getting now a little bit closer to maybe landing the first plane and taking off on a new plane. The state law is supposed to change relatively soon here. I think it's in committee today maybe. That will allow us to be on a more level playing field with other states that don't have a state law that's as prohibitive as ours, and ours isn't that prohibitive.
Yeah.
If you rewind a year,
it was advantage athlete.
It's crazy. If you rewind a year ago this time, the prevailing thought across college sports was, if you don't have a state law in NIL, you're going to get left behind, because the NCAA was either saying publicly, or I think they were saying publicly, I have to go back and look at it, or saying privately, if you don't have a state law, you're not going to be able to participate in NIL. So only the states that have a state law. So we worked really hard. LSU's team worked really hard to get a state law passed. And then 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, they're like, everybody can participate in NIL. It doesn't matter if you have a state law or not. So all of a sudden, not having a state law was an advantage.
We're seeing states retract it.
Yeah, and so other states repealed it at different times. So we're finally getting there. I think there's still some work to be done in our team, and certainly the state legislature is working really hard on that. But once that happens, the biggest difference is we'll be able to be a little more involved on the day-to-day basis of making sure that our student athletes are not being put in a bad spot with deals, or we'll be able to have a little more involvement than we were before. Right now, there's no facilitation. We still wouldn't be able to pay student athletes for work or whatever, but we would be able to bring some of that stuff in-house, which will help and give us a little more say and a little more, I think, give our student athletes a little more protection and a little more guidance and that sort of thing. So it's been interesting. You mentioned the Tiger Tour, Coach Kelly going out and talking about his philosophy of NIL, and I think you'll hear more on that in the days and weeks to come. But he's got this broader vision of NIL, and I think there's a lot of short-term thinking around NIL where it's, hey, how do we pay a kid to get on campus, right? And I get, as long as you're doing it legally, I guess that's fine. But is that sustainable? Can you just throw money at a problem and fix it, or do you need to come up with a plan that brings in quality student athletes that are here for the right reasons, that want to be at LSU, that want to build their value and develop their value and go on to play at the next level or go on to do something else in their career? Can you do that sustainably year after year? Because you can throw money at the problem in year one and get a great recruiting class in. You can do that every year? Is that sustainable? Can you maintain that? Or do you build something that you can maintain over the long haul? And I think he's got a plan and approach that I'm sure he'll talk about more in the future that is geared at that. Hey, let's not just solve this problem overnight. Let's come up with something that's going to last for 5 years, 10 years down the line.
One of the things that seems progressive from LSU standpoint that the student athletes have really accepted and embraced, B.J. Ojulari sat in that chair last week and talked about his jersey being able to be sold now on campus, a part of like the gift shop, and him receiving some type of benefit from that. I know you had the link on your social media. In fact, we had a couple of listeners asking for that link. Again, what is that deal that's coming up?
Yeah, that's through Fanatics. It'll launch in the fall. So Fanatics put out to a few different programs across the country, hey, we're thinking about doing this opportunity where student athletes in football to start with, and then maybe scale it to other sports, can sell their jerseys with their names on them, authentic jerseys, real deal. So for BJ, it would have his last name and his number on the back, and they would get a cut of that. So they approached a few different schools about it, and I think we were probably the most aggressive school in like, we want to do that. Whatever it takes to do that, we'll get it done. And so I think the first day that it opened up for opt-in, we had like 90 to 95% opt-in. I mean, it was very, very quick, and that's because there was communication on the front end from Coach Kelly and his staff. Hey, guys, this opportunity's coming. We're going to educate you on the opportunity that's in front of you. If you want to participate, this is what you need to do. And then day one, it was like that, and they were opted in. And we had a call with Fanatics recently, and they were like, y'all are still the gold standard with that stuff.
Really?
Like, we still have other schools trying to catch up. So that was a comprehensive effort. So essentially, once it's available, and, let me give all the caveats, supply chain and all that stuff that is affecting everything right now. But from what we've heard from Fanatics, in the fall it should be available. And, hey, pick your player. Whichever one's your favorite. When you buy that jersey, they'll get a proceed, a portion of that sale, which they deserve. And that's the
spirit of NIL.
It's the true spirit of NIL, right? Yeah. It's not supposed to be a recruiting inducement. It's not supposed to be $8
million.
It's not supposed to be boosterism disguised as a marketing deal, right? It's supposed to be, this is your brand. Capitalize off of it, and that's what this deal really embodies.
Speaking of recruiting, and it seems like all the programs right now are on fire recruiting. McMahon, Kelly, all of them. The headliner, Jay John, they're all having wild success. Kim Mulkey is just, did you all expect this type of return so early from her? I know it's probably a dumb question to ask just because of her greatness, but 13 months in?
Yeah,
you're looking at a number one class and coming off of the SEC like you did last year. She's got to be out exceeding expectations even from the boss's standpoint, right?
Yeah, I got to be careful because if I speak too kindly about it, she'll probably call me and say, "Hey, don't raise the expectations too much here," which was her approach last year, right? She came and she said, "Hey, it's going to take time."
Right.
How much time did it take? Like 26-5 this year, 26-6, whatever it was. She's a winner. Like, she is the epitome of a winner. You spend 5 seconds around her, and the competitiveness comes through, The aura comes through. I can't imagine being like, if I've got 2 daughters, right? So when they grow up and she came knocking on my door and started recruiting my kids, yeah, take them. Right. You got them, right? Like that's an easy sell for a parent and for a student athlete. So it was funny. I was tweeting about the men's basketball roster improvements, and I got a message from someone on staff. They're like, just wait and see what we got coming with women's basketball too. So there's that internal competitiveness, right? But then they got Angel Reese, who was the #1 transfer in the country, the former #2 player in the country, coming out of high school. And you look at the roster for next year, and it's like, wait, they lost Kayla Pointer and this incredible class, but now they're bringing in this class, and they've got Alexis Morris here, and okay, maybe they actually can keep this thing going forward. Because to the previous staff's credit, and Coach Mulkey said this, she inherited a great core group of seniors, right? And now a lot of that group is moving on. She didn't blink. I mean, she just brought in an unreal class. So they're going to be phenomenal. Excited to see that whole group. Smythe Smith, Flauget. I mean, Flauget, not only as an on-court presence, but as talk about NIL, somebody that's got a brand that they're bringing to the table. And I know for Flauget's sake, and I've heard this from several people at LSU, the NIL thing was huge for her. She wanted to go to a place where she could elevate her brand and do both basketball and music. And from the start, like, you want to talk about Coach Mulkey's approach to that. There's some phenomenal pictures of her recruiting visit of them, like in Tiger Stadium, like with a microphone and a stage, like whatever it takes to win and to get those student athletes here and to develop them, she's going to do. So she might be the most competitive coach that we have on campus. She might be the most competitive coach in the country, regardless of sport, regardless of gender. She is an unreal competitor, and that's trickling over to the program.
Is there still an emphasis on upgrading the Maravich Center?
Oh yeah, no question. I mean, like I said, I was walking the facility with Coach McMahon the other day, and he was like, "Look, let's get some of this stuff fixed. I know some more stuff's coming down the line." So I don't know exactly where those plans are. It's definitely a huge point of emphasis. I think we will have something to announce in the next few months, I would guess. I don't know a whole lot on that side right now, but yeah, that's a massive priority. Like we know it's not good enough. Like it was a priority multiple years ago, 2-3 years ago, and then COVID hits, and not to use that as an excuse, but it does sort of throw a wrench in the gears of everything you're doing. So you're adjusting to that, and there's definitely plans to upgrade that facility.
You have such a great point of view of this. You covered this program from a media standpoint. You've worked in this program as a PR personnel. Now you're kind of
state
seeing
media,
it, right? That's right. You're kind of seeing it from the top, right? I mean, you're kind of seeing it behind the doors of the executives and traveling the state and seeing some of the messages and the coaches. Can you talk about the job that Scott Woodward has done to the athletic program and just I walked in there the other day just to drop something off, and the feeling when the elevators opened on the 6th floor felt different.
Yeah, I would go back even further. Like, I would go back to my childhood. And I don't know that I associated LSU with excellence when I was growing up. Maybe I was just a spoiled private school kid that didn't know any better. But LSU was kind of the state school, and football was just kind of coming along. Like, I was born in '88, so Saban got here in '99. So I was kind of getting to my teenage years when football was – the first 8 years of my life, football wasn't very good. Basketball was a roller coaster. They kind of hit the probation area at the end of Dale Brown era, and then John Brady kind of came in, and it was up and down as he was trying to build that thing. Baseball was obviously dominant and great, but I just didn't associate it with the consistent excellence. And I think that the success of the mid-2000s started to change that narrative. And then I think the biggest thing is that excellence is pervasive now. It's the standard. It's what Scott Woodward wants from every area of the department. Doesn't matter if you're the guy that's making podcasts or the football coach that needs to go out and win championships. So there's that standard that's set, but then there's the empowerment and the resources provided, and whatever it takes to provide those resources, they're going to find a way to get it done. So, like, I look at it from my narrow perspective of content and branding, and like we'll announce some stuff soon on it, but we've been empowered to, hey, go make more stuff, go make better stuff, and that's been the attitude, at least since I've been here with Scott Woodward and the athletic department as a whole, is, hey, whatever it takes for you to succeed, we're going to go get it for you, then you go succeed. Like, if you want it, you can get it, but you better capitalize off of it. So it's a competitive mindset. It's a winner's mindset. It's a winner's mentality. It pervades from the top down. What I always say is I go to work at LSU every day, and like you can't show up with your C game. Mm-hmm. you look to the person to your right, you look to the person to your left. It doesn't matter if it's the creative team, doesn't matter if it's the facilities team, doesn't matter if it's the business office. Everyone there is competitive, and they're doing their best. And so if you show up off your game, you're like, I'm kind of sticking out like a sore thumb. I need to step it up. It's just it's a really good environment of where excellence is sort of that standard. And if you don't uphold it, you kind of stick out. So that's big with Scott. His vision is of LSU athletics being able to elevate the entire state of Louisiana. And when LSU succeeds, the whole state can succeed and be uplifted. And that's a high. It gives you a purpose and a drive and a motivation.
I thought one of the coolest events that I've been to on campus in a long time was the Garth Brooks concert in Tiger Stadium a couple of weeks back. I don't know if you had a chance to make it, but
I was out there.
103,000 people. It was under the lights. I mean, it just felt very. It felt very Saturday night in Tiger Stadium-ish. What are the executives? How do you guys? What's your part in that? And did you guys see something that night to say? Like I know that there's not a lot of Garth Brooks out there that can pack that place like he did, but to see that type of option for fans in the next couple of summers or off seasons.
Yeah, first the credit for that environment and that atmosphere, one obviously goes to Garth and what he's built. There were a lot of people at LSU who did a ton for that thing that didn't have to and didn't get any credit for it, but from facilities to parking to it was the biggest game day atmosphere in Baton Rouge maybe ever.
Yeah.
You had 104,000 people inside the stadium. And they just kind of had to do it without getting the credit. So it's a massive credit to the people behind the scenes at LSU that made that thing happen. I think what we saw was, one, that unified spirit. It's been a very divisive couple of years, not just for LSU, across the world, but at LSU too, like with coaches transitioning out and new faces coming in and COVID and the Black Lives Matter movement. Like there's been a lot of hot points and hot topics. We had the COVID restrictions, or the limitations in the stadium. Like it was just, there's been a lot of flashpoints, right? And so to get 104,000 people in a stadium, literally singing the same song, but fired up and excited and loving Louisiana and loving Baton Rouge. I mean, you could feel that spirit, right? And so it reminds you of what a game day can be, right? A game day can be that. It can be Joe Burrow running out in 2019 on senior night with Burrow across his back. And it reminds you that nothing brings people together in this state like LSU and like Tiger Stadium and like LSU athletics. And so it sort of reminds you of that bigger purpose. Now, as far as scaling that to other things, yeah, I'm sure there's going to be other opportunities for not just the football stadium to be sort of you can call it a creative revenue source, right? Like bringing in concerts. I think you'll see other spots across our campus and facilities where we're going to look to bring in the public more and make it an opportunity not only for us to generate some revenue, but to bring in the public. And, hey, we've got these resources. Let's use them and make our community better, make for a memorable night, make for a better, stronger community in this sport or that sport. I think we're looking at all those opportunities to not only make the experience at LSU better, but to have that trickle out across the state.
LSU brand manager, chief brand officer over at LSU, Cody Worsham, good friend of our show. We'll get you out of here. I know you're on your way to the office. 6:30 start Sunday night in the Superdome. LSU versus Florida State on ABC primetime. I'd imagine from a PR department that couldn't have worked out any better from that announcement standpoint.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome. And the world's gonna be watching. It's gonna be Brian Kelly's first game, so you're gonna have all the hype around that. I mean, we were thinking about SEC Media Days yesterday. I think it's 2 months from today, right? Yeah. And what a zoo that's going to be when he shows up for his. I think he's the first one, or LSU's on the first day, and just all that media. He's been at Notre Dame. They don't have SEC Media Days at Notre Dame. There's no conference media days. I don't know if he did the ACC Media Days. I'd have to go back and look at that with Notre Dame. But it's a different animal, and it's going to be in Atlanta this year. And so thinking about the hype that's going to come with that, and then obviously in New Orleans, Superdome. And then all the energy think about the Saints, man. I know y'all have talked about it with that guy sitting right behind you, Tyrann Mathieu and Jarvis. And there's just a real synergy around Louisiana football this year that I'm excited about. It feels like it's 6 months away, but it's only a few months away. So
right.
to have that game in New Orleans, the debut of Brian Kelly, sort of a new direction for the program. It's gonna be exciting. It's gonna be real fun to be there.
Great to see you, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Keep up the great work.
Appreciate it.
LSU's Cody Worsham stopping in studio with us. That conversation brought to you by Barker Brothers Plumbing and Works. Remember, experienced carpenters on staff and plumbers for your industrial remodel that you may be thinking about, or if you got a remodel around the house that you're talking about, get in touch with Barker Brothers. They can help you today with their plumbing and works. 776-2431, 225-776-2431 is the phone number. Mention the Jordy Culotta Show. You get a 15% discount. No website, no social media. Get in touch with them today. They got 2 trucks working the East Baton Rouge Parish on this side of the river, so get in touch with Barker Brothers Plumbing and Works. Number 1 and a number 2 business, our friends over at Barker Brothers Plumbing. 225-776-2431. Mention the show and get 15% off. We'll be back with the second hour here on the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet. Appreciate it, bro.
Thank y'all for having me.
Yeah,
Do you have questions about your finances? Are you looking for recommendations from a skilled financial advisor? Get in touch with our friend Daniel Newman over at Edward Jones. You can find him easily by logging online and shooting him an email at daniel.newman@edwardjones.com. That is daniel.newman@edwardjones.com. Whether it is help with your 401k or just fiscal advice heading into the new season, get in touch with Daniel today. Best way to do it? Email him, daniel.newman@edwardjones.com. He's our experienced financial advisor. Let him be yours, daniel.newman@edwardjones.com.
The Jordy Culotta Show is brought to you daily by Morales Roll-Offs. Morales Roll-Offs provides dumpster rentals for residential and commercial needs in Baton Rouge and surrounding areas. Morales has roll-off dumpsters ranging from 10 yards to 40 yards to accommodate all of your disposal needs. Search online, moralesrolloffs.com.
True Blue Water, true hydration at its finest. Right now, you're only a few minutes away from getting your 5-gallon water delivered to you, just like we are over here at the UDL. All you got to do is log on to truebluewater.com. That's TRU bluewater.com. The website's fantastic over at truebluewater.com. You can get your service and find out how quick it is. You can schedule a delivery, even hop on the billing system right there at truebluewater.com. TRU bluewater.com. Go Chevrolet is proud to announce Go Express Auto Sales, the new used car lot located in the capital city of Baton Rouge, Louisiana at 11522 Florida Boulevard. Go Express Auto Sales is online at goexpressautosales.com, or you can search them on Facebook and social media at Go Express Auto Sales, the newest addition to the family of Go Chevrolet. Remember, Go Chevrolet is located down in Laplace, Louisiana, but now welcoming aboard Go Express, the new used car lot located in Baton Rouge, Louisiana at 11522 Florida Boulevard. All right, welcome back here to the Jordy Culotta Show live on this Wednesday. I appreciate you being here with us. Make sure and hit that like button, share button, comment button if you don't mind. The interaction, if you're watching on Twitter, give us a retweet and a like there, as a new social media platform that you can catch us on is Twitter every single day. So shout out to Cody Worsham for stopping in. Good information from Cody as he was talking a lot about what's going on LSU's campus. Lots going on LSU's campus right now, obviously, with what's happening with name, image, and likeness, the new coaches, new players coming in, all of the recruits. So good catching up with LSU Chief Brand Officer Cody Worsham, who has made an incredible just rise through.
I mean, he could
the
sell
athletic
anybody
department.
on LSU.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think
on
that's
all parts of LSU.
that's his gig. That's
All
his
right.
job for sure.
He's
But,
good at it.
he does. He's doing great work, and from where he kind of started to where he is now, it's been an incredible rise, and it's one that he definitely deserves because he's doing great work over there and has really just done bang up job of where LSU was coming. I mean, think about some of the things that he's had to deal with since being on the job. I mean,
I can't even imagine.
Of being LSU's brand manager for the last 2 years.
I can't imagine.
I mean, you want to talk about a stressful gig now.
I know.
I mean, some of the stuff that's come across his desk in which they've said, hey, man, fix this.
Yeah.
From a PR standpoint. And a lot of those cases probably would be PR case studies.
They really would. He's done a stellar job.
It has, man. It has. He has. And it's been an incredible, like we said, quick rise and run for Worsham there at LSU. All right, we're just a couple of minutes away from linking up with Ben Baby, who is over at ESPN.com. He covers the Cincinnati Bengals, and he is looking forward to this next year of covering Joe Burrow here in year 3. Burrow and Cincinnati obviously coming off of the Super Bowl bid last year, representing the AFC. How do they get back and get on it here and try and defend that AFC championship and take that next step in going back to the Super Bowl and ultimately hoisting the Lombardi Trophy? We will go up to Cincinnati, ask him about some of the young offseason storylines, what he is watching with Cincinnati here, some of the draft picks, some of the new faces, Lyle Collins, now an offensive lineman protecting Joe Burrow, what's to expect with Tyler Shelvin in year 2 after his rookie season, and obviously Jamar Chase. How much can we expect from him after just such a stellar and rock star first season in the NFL? What are the things that some of the things that they anticipate from Chase in that part of the country on how he could improve or how he could even be any better than he was last season? But you could hear it yesterday with Burrow. Burrow was speaking with the press, and I think it was Ben who actually asked him a couple of the first questions after he had made a public statement just about the offseason, last year's way that the year ended up. And, Ben kind of asked him how he handled that Super Bowl loss. Joe, mentioned that he handled it just like any other loss, watched the film, thought how he, detailed how they could make the mistakes or improve on the mistakes that they had made. But, it seems like it's just kind of business as usual. But one thing that stood out to yesterday's Burrow's comments was the culture that has been created in Cincinnati in just a short time of having Joe in the building. And look, Burrow now has too many pieces of bodies of work to stand out and give you the evidence that this is the guy that is creating this, right? Whether it was at Athens High School when he was in high school and drove that program to a state championship game, back when they had no thoughts of even competing for state playoff runs, much less state titles. He changed the total direction of that high school program. The stadium is now named Joe Burrow Stadium up in Athens High School just because of the impact that he made on that campus just a short time ago. Obviously, what he accomplished at LSU by changing the trajectory of the program and bringing another national championship down here, and more evident is look at the state of the program pre-Burrow and post-Burrow, right? I mean, Ogeron was here for 2 years without Burrow before he got here, and then he was here 2 years after Burrow left and look at just the absolute dysfunction that the program was living in without Burrow, and how much Burrow covered up in the 2 years that he was here. So obviously what he has created at LSU, and then in Cincinnati, you heard it yesterday. There is an expectation that nobody is going to miss these volunteer workouts. And people may say, yeah, well, nothing's voluntarily in sports. Well, at the professional level, when people are making money, it becomes voluntarily. Because, one thing is that, if a player is better than the offseason workouts and doesn't have to voluntarily show up, 9 out of 10 times they usually don't. Because they've got their own workout regimen set up. They've got their own training staff put together. They've got their own nutrition staff being able – they got all the entities that you need to be a dominant athlete. But Burrow's he's not going to allow that stuff. Whether you are, a high-paid defensive player or whether you're an undrafted free agent rookie, everybody's going to be bought into the program, into the culture, and that's all created by Burrow. And we'll ask Ben Baby more about that, because it's just, it is kind of cool to see one person, one player have so much influence on everywhere he's been.
It's crazy.
And to see all of the positive that comes from that influence. And a lot of it is, that we see is the winning, but there's so much more behind the scenes that he creates, and the accountability. And, even the coaches. We were talking to a couple of coaches that have been on staff with Burrow or know Burrow personally. And, one of the things that he does to you as a coach is, he motivates you. He holds you accountable. He makes sure, like Cody said, you can't slip. You can't take a day. Mm-hmm. You can't have, well, I'm just having a long day. I'm having a bad day. Well, okay. But you got to give everything you got here. And that's what the culture is created by, is about, human equity. Human buy-in. Just personnel, and having everybody believe and pull in the same direction. And Burrow, he creates that everywhere he goes. Mm-hmm. I think that's the highest compliment that you can give an athlete. That may be the highest compliment that you can give an individual.
Yeah. Is
just that they make people around them better. They make people around them accountable. They hold people around them to a standard that they expect them to get to, or they won't put up with it.
Mm-hmm. And that's a lot of pressure on that person to do that.
Both sides.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Both sides. Yes.
For sure. Because you got to bring that every day.
Yeah.
So
I know that's
if you're
tough.
faking it, it's not. It's not going to last.
Right.
It's not going to sustain.
Right.
And one thing that Burrow has shown, I think overwhelmingly, is that he's just not fake. It's just not. None of that stuff is fake.
It took him a while to prove that to everybody, but he did.
Robert Miller, Jordy, how was the supper club? I thought it was fantastic. I really did. To me, it's just it was something that Baton Rouge doesn't have, does not exist here in town, and it's something that it's new, it's progressive.
He said, "Is it going to set him back $200 to $300?" Yes.
If you look, we spent $200 on liquor,
right.
on alcohol.
So it's definitely going to.
You know what I mean?
Back.
The alcohol is really what got you. But for a table of 4, with the, with the food that we were eating, I thought that the food bill was fine. Mm-hmm. I really did. I thought that it wasn't. It's fine dining in Baton Rouge, and I think it's very comparable to that. So if you've been to, some of the fine dining establishment, Chris's, Gino's, Fleming's.
Yeah.
What am I missing? I think that it would be very.
Mansour's, all those places.
Mansour's. It'd be very comparable.
Except you have to have cocktail attire, which I heard some people are kind of like, I don't want to have to super dress up like that. But then it's don't ruin it for everybody. People want this. And if you're out somewhere and you're already dressed like that and that's somewhere for you to go, it's fun. It's different.
And I would say that it's not, I don't think that, there's no disciplinarian at the door telling you to turn around if you're not up to code.
But I think they would if you came up in there looking like a scrub.
It's commonsensical, for sure. I think that, you can get away with a suit and tennis shoes.
Yeah, right.
You could get away with a a sport coat and a relaxed look.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and you know, for the female, I don't think that you have to have an ankle length dress on.
Right.
You know, I mean,
Right.
I think that there are ways to kind of skirt the system without having, you know, to feel
no
like a
pun
square.
intended.
Huh?
No pun intended. Skirt the system.
There you go. There you go. All right, we're going to talk to Ben Baby coming up here in a couple of minutes, and we'll ask him about Cincinnati, and then Matt McMahon coming up here at 8:45, and really looking forward to that conversation with Coach McMahon, just to kind of keep up with like some of the things we talked about with Cody. You know, I mean, just what has the last couple of weeks been like? Have you been able to settle in? I mean, all the work that the staff has been doing, and all the recruits that they've been able to get over the last couple of weeks and days. It's just been it's been amazing.
It
man.
is unbelievable.
It's been unreal, man. I'm talking to Baby here just so we have enough time.
Did y'all know that the Mexican pizza is back today?
Yes.
Everybody excited about that? But you have to download the Taco Bell app to get it. I don't think you have to do that. I think that's just like 2 days. You have to download the app to get it. But I haven't had. I mean, like I don't
Smart
even
play by
remember.
Taco Bell.
It is a smart play.
It's a smart play.
I mean, I don't know if I'd still be into a Mexican pizza or not. It's been so long. Like, would it still be good?
I mean,
Was it even good?
fast food, I think just any of it doesn't sit
I just
well
don't ever get
anymore,
it.
right?
I don't get fast food.
But
That's
the-
nostalgic, though.
the alpha order of fast food is the Mexican pizza.
Yeah.
I mean,
I feel like I kind of have to get one.
took a lot of guts, I thought, to take it off the menu.
Yeah, it did.
Then they saw the backlash that it created, and very smart brought it back. But today is the day, so you have to download the app to get it today.
Yes.
Smart
Yes,
play.
you have to do it just on the app. I think it was yesterday and
play.
today. So yeah,
Good
it was
play.
a smart play.
Everybody's going digital.
I know.
Everybody's pushing their digital properties.
I know it. So are we.
Absolutely. Remember, Daily, we're brought to you by Relief Med, our friends over at Relief Med, RELEAF med.com. Medical marijuana legalized in the state of Louisiana. You can pick up your card today by logging on to Relief Med, RELEAF med.com. Relief Med is here in Louisiana, obviously, and online. If you are looking to get that relief now, just click on the link right there when you get it and see if you have a qualifying condition. They've got a pharmacy near you, and you can get over to that pharmacy after you get the recommendation. They are physician-led, experienced professionals connecting Louisiana residents to physicians that they need for relief over at Relief Med, RELEAF med.com. You know that medical marijuana has been around now for just about over a year. So if you're looking and need a choice or an option to help, whether it be your anxiety, whether it help to with your sleep deprivation, whether it be an injury that you may have from a while back and looking for a different way to soothe that injury, get in touch with our friends over at Relief Med, RELEAF med.com, RELEAF med.com, to keep up with our friends over there. And make sure you use the promo code Jordy1, JORDY1, to get your discount over at Relief Med. We'll be back with more of the Jordy Culotta Show. We'll be talking to Cincinnati, from Cincinnati, Ben Baby, who covers the Bengals up there for ESPN.com, when we come back here on the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet. Do you have questions about your finances? Are you looking for recommendations from a skilled financial advisor? Get in touch with our friend Daniel Newman over at Edward Jones. You can find him easily by logging online and shooting him an email at daniel.newman@edwardjones.com. That is daniel.newman@edwardjones.com. Whether it is help with your 401k or just fiscal advice heading into the new season, get in touch with Daniel today. Best way to do it? Email him, daniel.newman@edwardjones.com. He's our experienced financial advisor. Let him be yours, daniel.newman@edwardjones.com.
The Jordy Culotta Show is brought to you by A-Bears Lawn Maintenance. Commercial or residential, A-Bears Lawn Maintenance is ready to work. A-Bears can tackle all your homeowners association requirements. Call Blake at 225-485-8022. A-Bears Lawn Maintenance. The Jordy Culotta Show is brought to you daily by Morales Roll-Offs. Morales Roll-Offs provides dumpster rentals for residential and commercial needs in Baton Rouge and surrounding areas. Morales has roll-off dumpsters ranging from 10 yards to 40 yards to accommodate all of your disposal needs. Search online, moralesrolloffs.com.
Go Chevrolet is proud to announce Go Express Auto Sales, the new used car lot located in the capital city of Baton Rouge, Louisiana at 11522 Florida Boulevard. Go Express Auto Sales is online at goexpressautosales.com, or you can search them on Facebook and social media at Go Express Auto Sales, the newest addition to the family of Go Chevrolet. Remember, Go Chevrolet is located down in Laplace, Louisiana, but now welcoming aboard Go Express, the new used car lot located in Baton Rouge, Louisiana at 11522 Florida Boulevard.
Hey y'all, it's Mikey from Mic'd Up. Catch us live every Monday and Wednesday, 11 to 1. Talk gambling, talk sports, have a ton of guests in here, get a little perspective from the athlete side of it. We got Lloyd in the house, Jay Mitch is in here a lot of the time. It's a fun show, great show.
It's fantastic over at truebluewater.com. You can get your service and find out how quick it is. You can schedule a delivery, even hop on the billing system right there at truebluewater.com. TRU, bluewater.com.
All right, welcome back here to the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet. We'll link up with Ben Baby here in a few minutes. In about 15 minutes from now, we'll talk to Matt McMahon, LSU head basketball coach. LSU baseball last night, designated hitter Braden Joubert and catcher Hayden Travinski combined for 3 home runs and 7 ribbies last night on a 19-7 win over Northwestern State in the box, Skip Bertman Field. Game was halted after the top of the 7th inning due to the 10-run rule. LSU improved to 34-18 on the season, as LSU will open up a 3-game series versus Vanderbilt in Nashville. That game will start, game 1 will start Thursday night, 7 o'clock for your first pitch. Joubert blasted 2 home runs, drove in 3 last night. He's now got 14 home runs on the season. Travinski hit his 6th bomb of the season, LSU's first grand slam of the year. He also doubled off the right center wall last night. As we said, LSU 34-18 now on the year, and improved to now will take on Vanderbilt coming up for their last of the 3-game set series of the regular season before the SEC baseball tournament cranks up over in Hoover. Ben Baby just said he'll be here in 2 minutes, so we will link up with him here in a couple of minutes.
Have y'all seen the billboards around town, the Berry Bomb billboards?
Yes.
They're so cute.
Yes.
I love those. You haven't seen them?
Because I don't have a car.
Oh, that's
I don't have a
right.
car.
You wouldn't see them.
Remember, I wouldn't
sorry.
see any billboards because I don't have a car. Sorry.
F you,
Stewie,
Walmart.
I
Yeah.
know. What the hell,
Fuck you, Walmart.
What's the deal?
What is the deal?
No news. It's Wednesday, no news.
Ugh, corporate America.
I mean, this has been weeks.
It's been months.
Has it really?
Yes, it's been months. My car.
Plural? Months?
Yes, months.
No.
Yes, it's going on months. Like May 20, like May 29th, I want to say, or 28th is gonna be like 2 months.
I cannot believe this.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
So that's where I'm at.
Freaking Walmart.
That's ridiculous, man.
Yeah.
Beyond
Didn't
ridiculous.
they tweet back at you?
they tweeted back at me and like.
And then did y'all have a conversation?
I
Y'all got
had
in
a
each other's
conversation with
DMs?
them, told them everything that went on, and then like they sent the adjuster the next week, but then nothing
And that was
from
it?
them. Yep.
Should we still keep hate tweeting at Walmart
Yes.
then?
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm gonna forever hate Walmart for this.
I know.
Like, this is like a forever thing.
I
like,
already hated Walmart, but now I
Yeah.
hate him even more.
Give the man a
Oh,
car.
I mean,
for
I already
God's
hated them.
sakes.
I have steak with
Yeah.
Walmart. Like I worked there.
Oh.
Had the whole.
Wow.
Yeah. So
You got
I
history?
Did they know?
Yeah, we have
Did you
history.
tell them that you were a former employee?
No, I did not
You
tell
should,
them that. I
Stewie.
should definitely
You need
tell
to
them
get back
how-
into that conversation and
Right.
tell them that.
See, I didn't even think about
Yeah.
that. But yes, I am a former Walmart employee.
Were
I
you like a
hated it.
greeter?
Huh?
Were
No,
you
I
a
was not a
greeter?
greeter. No.
Were you?
I worked in hardware.
Okay.
Easiest job ever.
Okay.
Hey,
Nice.
look. Mess with the tools a little bit, you know. Show you where this tool is. Know where the ladder is too.
Are you handy? Can you like refer people to certain tools?
I mean, yeah, I know my tools, but I
Okay.
mean, I'm not like the most handy person
Yeah.
in the world. Like, I don't know how to put together like. I mean, I'm not gonna build you a dresser.
Okay.
So yeah,
Okay. I'll give you that.
yeah, I'm not Bob the Builder.
Bear 24, what did Walmart do? They totaled Stewie's car. He just dropped it off
Yeah.
for an oil change, a simple oil change, and they forgot to cap the oil in the bottom of his car. He drove out and dropped all of his oil nearly on the highway and burned up the engine. And this is now, as Stewie has said, going on months here. And it is caught up in red tape corporate America. And now it seems like Stewie's going to be walking everywhere.
Yeah.
Catching the bus everywhere,
Let me get a
asking
bike.
and getting rides. Hey, it's not as bad as
I was
not as
gonna
bad as you
say,
might think.
I've been thinking about getting me a bike, man.
Right,
I
you
don't
do
know.
need a bike,
Yeah,
then.
I think I should
Get
get a bike.
Walmart to send you a damn bike. They sell them there.
Get them to send me a bike.
Yes.
Not only that, there's bike rentals around town now that you can hop on. I don't know if these are
Oh,
these.
really? You can rent them?
Yeah, I mean,
There's
well,
like
I think you
a-
don't rent them. You just kind of like, you just kind of charge it to the game. You got to get the app, and you just
Okay.
Kinda like the
they're
scooter
trying to go-
situation.
They're trying to go big city. I don't know if they're the motorized bikes that some of the big cities have.
Well, they do a bike tour downtown, some group, like with the light up bikes, and it's like
Oh,
a
I've seen
tour of the.
that.
And I really
Yeah.
want to do it.
I
It
think
looks
they do
so
that like
fun.
every weekend.
Yeah.
That might be like an every weekend thing.
Yeah.
Kind of cultish.
Yeah.
I know, but it
kinda
looks really
cultish.
fun.
How many times do you need to see Baton Rouge's downtown?
Yeah.
Well, how many
Not
times
the
are you
coach.
down there on a bike at night though? Like, you know,
Jeez.
with music and lights and stuff.
Yeah.
Like that's a different way
This
to
is another.
see
This is
Baton Rouge
another
downtown.
boarded up former restaurant and
Right.
club here in downtown Baton Rouge. We'd like to show you.
Looks
You'll
like
see
a
here.
drive-by might be progressing
Right.
over there. Please
No
duck
pedestrian
down.
traffic down here around dusk.
We're all
Everybody's
too
scared to death. Heading home.
Capitol in the background.
Right. Pop, pop, pop. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. That sounds like that's 3 or 4 blocks away. Should be out of range here.
They
Nobody
teach
should
you how to
get
hit
caught
the
by a
ground.
stray. But I will give an alert if we feel like we do need to stop, drop, and roll here to get away from the drive-bys.
So sad.
Oh, we got Ben. We got Ben.
All right, let's go up to Cincinnati. Ben Beatty, who covers the Cincinnati Bengals, of course. Saints trying to slowly make their way back into our hearts down here in South Louisiana, signing all of these former Tigers like Tyrann Mathieu and Jarvis Landry. They may even bring back Quan Alexander. But in the offseason, the Bengals signed another Tiger of their own as they picked up former Dallas Cowboy La'el Collins, who, if you saw yesterday, some of the images that were coming out from Cincinnati had La'el lined up on the right side, and here is to help us talk a little bit.
He came in and went away. I don't know. I
okay.
think he might have discdisconnected on his end.
Okay.
I don't know. Oh, he's back. He's back.
All right, now we have
Hello, Ben.
we got Ben Baby back here, and is Ben is saying that he cannot hear us through the headphones. Ben, can you hear us now? As we are looking and staring at Ben in Cincinnati, as he is staring back at us
Yeah.
with a very intent face of, how do we do this? Are we good?
Ben, can you hear me?
You cannot
no,
hear us.
No
cannot
volume,
hear us.
no noise.
All right, let's see if we can't get that done. If not, we will switch this over to a phone line here and call Ben here in a couple of minutes. Stay tuned. We'll be right back with a video call up in Cincinnati with Ben Baby from ESPN.com here on the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet.
Ben? Nothing? Still don't have me?
All right, welcome back here to the Jordy Culotta Show here on this Wednesday. Let's go up to Cincinnati as Ben Baby is on the phone line with us talking yesterday as Bengals get back into off-season training activities after a run in the Super Bowl. And Ben, we were talking about some of the moves that Cincinnati made in the offseason. There was an obvious point of emphasis in protecting the franchise and protecting Joe Burrow. What did that new look offensive line look like now that you had a chance to see those guys lined up in front of Burrow?
As soon as free agency started, like literally a minute, the negotiating window opened, the Bengals went ahead and got some big free agents. They got Alex Kappa, who was previously with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You got Ted Karras, who was with the Patriots, and then La'el Collins, a former LSU guy, now at right tackle. Those are three new pieces that they have in there, three veterans. For whatever reason, the Bengals just haven't been able to find and develop the guys in the draft that would like an offensive line. They just the last couple of years, they haven't devoted the resources or had the right resources to fix that line. And so this year, I think that everyone feels a little bit better about that group coming in. Having the veterans that you have. The only question mark is going to be what's going to happen at left guard. Is it going to be second-year player Jackson Carman? Is it going to be rookie Cordell Volson? But all in all, I think everyone feels optimistic that offensive line is going to be a lot better. And if that line is better, Jordy, I'll be honest with you, this has the potential to be one of the best offenses in the NFL.
How did the early return on La'el Collins look? I know that he's battled some injury over the last couple of years on a hip and a toe. How was he moving around out there?
He looked good. I think it's hard to tell. It's almost like you don't read too much into what you see. It's like spring ball essentially for the NFL, and you can only glean so much. But the fact that they pursued him, I said that he's like a 4-star recruit that you're recruiting up until signing day, and you're making sure that you're throwing, doing the full court press to make sure that you can land him. And the Bengals did end up getting him. It almost felt like I was back covering recruiting the SEC again. And so for the Bengals to get him was huge. I think, for him to stay healthy, for him to stay on the field, I think that's going to be massive because the Bengals need some stability over there at right tackle. And, they signed him to a multi-year deal, and they really haven't had any stability at right tackle the last few years. So if he can come in and even just give him a 2-year stint, I think that's going to be huge.
How does the coaching staff expect development in year 2 for Tyler Shelvin? What is the expectation around the defensive tackle from South Louisiana?
Yeah, with Shelvin, I think it's going to be a lot about him getting in good playing shape. I think it's the same things that y'all have talked about for years when he was in Baton Rouge. A 4th-round pick, a guy who really didn't get a ton of snaps. He got a little bit of burn towards the end of the postseason. But I think for him, it's all about making sure he's in good shape, making sure that he's doing what he needs to do in the offseason, and that he's at a playing weight that'll allow him to be on the field for a lot. Because those defensive tackles, especially in the NFL, that position will wear you out. And you want to be able to give your starters some good rest and have a good rotation. And the Bengals feel like they've got some guys in that first and second level that can do that. And so I think for Shelvin, it's going to be, can he break in and maybe get some of those reps, prove himself on special teams a little bit? Those are going to be huge for him. And so we'll see how he continues to progress throughout this offseason, because I think that I think people are going to want to see him maybe do a little bit more than he did last year, because when you look at it, it seems like he should be a guy who should be able to get more snaps than he's getting.
How can Jamar improve after what was seemingly a just unconscious rookie year? And what are the expectations around him in year 2?
Yeah, for Jamar to improve, I'm not sure what he's got to do. Maybe got to go out and catch, go for 2,000 yards and 20 touchdowns and maybe catch one in the Super Bowl. The year that he had, I wrote it at the end of last year. I think honestly might be one of the best receivers ever by a Bengals wide receiver, not just as a rookie, just any wide receiver. When you look at the records that he set last year, and I think for him, he's already considered one of the best in the NFL, and I think cementing that status is going to be key for him in year 2. Maybe finding a way to get the ball in double teams. I asked Burrow about that yesterday, and he said that you're starting to, towards the end of the year, you started to see a little bit more respect to their playmakers, aka Jamar, and teams are playing him a little bit differently. And so, it's good for the Bengals to have a guy like T. Higgins on the other end that can make you pay when you want to double team or bracket Jamar. And I think that's going to be huge for them moving forward. Yesterday, I felt like I almost only saw Burrow throw to Chase exclusively in 11 on air drills. And I feel like that chemistry is going to continue to get better. There's a lot of conversation about the end of the Super Bowl, that last play, where Chase had Jalen Ramsey on the ground and Jamar or Joe was sacked or hit before he could get the ball to Jamar. And I found it interesting that Burrow said that he called a check to a go route right then because he liked that coverage. And I asked Jamar what he saw. And, they saw that Jalen was playing press coverage, and all he had to do was look over at Joe and just make eye contact, maybe give a little hand motion and nothing major. And that was it. That's all they needed to make that check. And the fact that you have that kind of chemistry, that kind of rapport in one of the biggest moments that you're ever going to play in is huge. And so I think that chemistry and that relationship's only going to get better. And I think you're going to see both of those guys, have even bigger years if they can stay healthy.
I counted 4 primetime games for the Bengals when the schedule was released last week. People down here believe the New Orleans game should be flexed out to a primetime game just with the buzz that Jam and Joe are going to bring down when traveling down from the Midwest. What was your reaction to the Cincinnati schedule?
Yeah, it's actually 5 primetime games, which is I believe the most in franchise history. I think that's the max allocation that a franchise can get. It's funny, when I first got here, it was a lot of 1 o'clock games. They had 1 primetime game, as an obligation. But other than that, they were kind of an afterthought around the NFL. And now after what they did last year, people want to see them. And I think it's more than that. I think it's the type of guys, the fact that they have Joe, they have Jamar, they've got Joe Mixon, they've got T. Higgins, they've got a lot of guys, Eli Apple, who is probably not going to be well received when he comes back down to New Orleans. But I think that is going to be huge. I think that's the big reason why you're seeing that. It's not just that they went to the Super Bowl. I think it's that they have a lot of guys that people are really excited about that were interesting, had really good personalities that came through during that playoff run. And so the Bengals seem ready. Joe was asked yesterday how he feels. He says, I'll go play wherever, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock in the morning, 9 o'clock at night, whatever it is. Joe's up for it. And so I think that's the mentality you want to have. But this is clearly going to be a big year. And if they can capitalize on that and follow up the success they had this year, you're going to see, Burrow and Chase, become even further stars than they already are and really be, potentially a couple of the faces of the NFL.
What is the level of Burrow mania right now? I mean, you could see even the national media was talking about him talking yesterday. What is the feeling around him in Cincinnati right now? Is he walking on water?
Yeah, I think he was from the moment he got here, to be quite honest. I think they saw what he did in Baton Rouge, and when you got a guy who has that level of success coming to a place that doesn't know what that kind of success looks like, you immediately latch onto it and you say, okay, what can we do? And he's been that guy since he got here. I think he's gotten a lot better, made a lot of improvements. I think he's physically, a big difference. I think that his arm has gotten significantly stronger since he's been in the league. And now I think, we asked him yesterday, what are the big improvements he's going to make? And he said, probably no big overhauls. And I think this would be one of the first years he's not making any big changes. I think the fact that he's only feeling like he needs to make a few tweaks tells you that he feels pretty good about his game and the work that he's put into himself over the last several years. And I would tend to agree with him. I think that right now, it is a lot of tweaks. And when you look at the way that he ended the year, he was playing, fairly well. I think that there is definitely a little bit more for him to, I want to see what he does with a better offensive line. I think that, you would like some of those production numbers to increase. But all in all, I think that everyone in Cincinnati firmly believes that this is going to be the guy who can take them to that next level. And when you talk to the coaching staff, I asked guys who have been here for a long time, said, what's different now than maybe when Carson Palmer was here or Andy Dalton was here? And then everybody just simply says it's number 9.
It's incredible to see the way that he's captivated that part of the country in the NFL, and only here in year 3. Ben, is there an expectation now built up around Cincinnati after what they accomplish next year to be this consistent playoff contending franchise?
Yeah, Joe said, yesterday, he talked about that yesterday, asked T. Higgins about that, and basically said, he said, this is our standard now moving forward. And Jamar said, we don't feel like we're going to have the X on our backs, but we know that we're going to want to go play well, and this is going to be what we're out to do every week. And so I think there is a level of expectation that's been there, frankly, because Burrow has been in the building, and he said, I don't lose, I don't like to lose, and we're going to make sure that we're winners. And I think the fact that you've had such a high turnout the last 2 years for voluntary workouts, with Trey Hendrickson and Jesse Bates being the only absences this year, I think that's huge. And so, there's definitely a culture that I think that you got to give Coach Zach Taylor a good amount of credit, but I think Burrow deserves a ton of that as well. And, what's interesting is, can the Bengals, sustain that success? Because, frankly, I don't think people believe outside of Cincinnati that this team is good enough to do what they did again next year. I think there's, when you look at the numbers, when you look at the projections, when you look at the Vegas odds, almost nobody believes the Bengals are even a team that should be in the top quarter of the NFL, much less competing in defending their AFC title. So I think that's going to be really fascinating to see how that plays out, and to see, last year, obviously the Bengals proved all the projections wrong, and if they can do it again, you're definitely going to see a different type of swagger, I think. And I think this year is going to be about, Burrow and the Bengals trying to prove, are they indeed for real?
ESPN's Ben Baby covers the Cincinnati Bengals better than anybody. Make sure and give him a follow at Ben_Baby on Twitter. Ben, great to hear from you. We'll be checking again soon.
Sounds good. Thanks, Jordy.
You got it. From Cincinnati, let's go to LSU, to the basketball coaching office with our guy, Matt McMahon, who I don't even know if he knows what the inside of that office looks like, because he's been doing so much work out on the recruiting trail, the way that he's put 13 scholarship players on this roster in just a short time. We're going to try to go to a video call here. Hopefully Coach can hear us, and we will be able to link up with him. Coach, good morning. How are you? I'm calling you on your cell phone. All right. I'm calling Coach McMahon on the cell phone real quick, and we'll be right back with Coach Matt McMahon right after this on the Jordy Culotta Show. What? Why do you need it? I just need to call him again.
No, he's on the video. Like, he's actually on video. All I need is that little piece.
Oh.
And to plug it back in here so we can get the audio from him.
Damn it.
Yeah, he's good. Like,
Is he still there?
Yeah, he's still there. All we have to do is plug
yeah.
this.
I can see, I can hear you.
Bam.
Coach, you got us?
Beautiful. We're coming to you right now. Sorry about that.
Yeah. No worries. You can see me?
Yes, sir. All right, straight back into it. We go to the LSU basketball coaching office with first-year head coach Matt McMahon, who has done an incredible job of building this roster. Coach, good morning. How are you? It's good to see you.
Jordy, good morning. I'm doing great. Yourself?
I'm doing okay, man. It is. I saw you last Saturday night. We were at the Louisiana Coaches Basketball Association banquet, which is always a great night to bring those personalities into one room. For you representing LSU on that night in our state, how cool was that for you?
Oh, that was awesome, especially getting to present the award for the State Coach of the Year to Eric Conkle. We were roommates together in grad school 22 years ago, so I've always had the great respect for him, and he did an incredible job at Louisiana Tech.
Coach, the work that you have done, I was saying earlier, I don't know if there is a superlative, I don't know if there's a phrase to describe the challenge that you've had and the work that you've done since then to make this roster what it looks like today. Can you wrap up what the last 7 weeks have been like for you and your staff?
Yeah, sure. I think, Jordy, the most important part was getting off to a great start by hiring an elite staff, and we were able to attract not only 3 great assistant coaches, but our support staff is terrific and a lot of experience. It was really helpful for me when you walk into a situation with 0 scholarship players. That can be overwhelming. So we just went about the process of methodically building the roster, tried to stack a bunch of good days back to back. And really from a recruiting standpoint, I looked at it as 4 different segments to building this roster. The first one was identifying who would fit from the returning roster, who could we build a quick relationship with and show a vision for them that LSU is the place for them to stay. And, you know, really excited about Mwani Wilkinson, Justice Williams, and Adam Miller. in their decisions to be a part of this foundation of what we want to build here. The second phase was really trying to get older faster and get some experience on the roster. And that's where you look at our 3 players that are coming with us from Murray State, all 21, 22, 23 years of age, have won a lot of games, have won NCAA tournament games in multiple years. So excited about that second phase. The third phase was the portal, which we wanted to add some experience there. Not to bore you to death here, Jordy, but there's so many challenges when you start at 0. It's not only getting good players, but you have to balance your classes. You have to balance your perimeter, your point guards, and your front court. So through the portal, we were able to add 3 additional players there, and Derek Fountain, Cam Hayes, and Kendall Coleman, who have 2 years experience, also have 3 years of eligibility remaining. And then the fourth and final phase, which I thought was critical, was to hit the ground running right away. I think at LSU you can recruit the best players in the country. And so we wanted to identify the best available players in the country and quickly build relationships there and show them our plan, our player development process, our style of play, the passionate fan base, obviously the SEC, all those things that make LSU great. And thrilled with where we landed there with the 4 high school players we were able to sign. Great talent, great size, 6'7", 6'10", 6'10", and 7 feet. All with big upside. So really excited with where we've landed here.
We mentioned that at the beginning of the show today, Coach. I think the most impressive part of what you've accomplished is not only have you gotten the players into the program, but you've done it very strategically. It looks like a puzzle that fits together. The icing on the cake yesterday being the 7-footer and Sean Phillips, who inked his letter of intent out of Glendale. How challenging was that? Just to, like you said, you started from 0. I mean, Coach, you actually, to me, you started from a negative portion of a starting base, and to stay strategic along that way in the vision of what you wanted to build. I'd imagine that was very challenging to get to this point.
Well, certainly very challenging with a lot of the circumstances outside of our control. But we just stayed focused on the process of what we want to build here. Selfishly in recruiting, I'm going to recruit my kind of guys, guys who fit the culture, guys who want to be a part of something bigger than themselves, guys who want to make an impact in Baton Rouge and the LSU campus on and off the court. And so we just stayed committed to that process. And really the credit just goes to our assistant coaches and support staff. They've just done an unbelievable job of working to reestablish our roster here going into year 1.
On the floor, Coach, do you have a specialty or a side of the floor that you stick with? Do you like to coach the bigs or the guards in particular?
No, I love it all. I think we got a reputation over the years for the point guard position, just with guys like Ja Morant and Cameron Payne, Isaiah Cannon, Jonathan Stark, some of the elite point guards we had over the years at Murray State. But I enjoy all of it. I think the wings, the shooting guard, Tevin Brown that we had and got to spend 4 years with now, hoping he's going to be able to sneak into the second round in the draft next month. And then I love the big guys. It's a little bit longer process than it might be for the guards, but love being able to, recruit and sign 6'10", 7-footers. And help them develop their skills inside and outside.
We had Cody Worsham on earlier in the show. He was here in studio with us at 7:30 and said he saw you and Adam Miller walking around campus a couple of weeks ago, and he kind of gave a silent fist pump saying, look at that, the relationship is there, it's being built, those guys are kind of vibing together. What was that recruitment like? And then obviously the news of Miller pledging back to the program last week. What do you get in Miller in just what he brings the program?
Oh, it was awesome. Love Adam Miller. Really wanted to respect his process and let him work his way through all his options and see what was going to be the best fit for him. I really just, everyone's probably blown away when they look. I had a solid freshman year at Illinois. You see the performance he had with USA Basketball. But really getting to spend time with him, find out how smart he is, his basketball IQ, his competitive drive, how much he wants to become the best player he's capable of being, was really a lot of fun this spring. And so obviously we're thrilled that he's going to be with the Tigers. And he's worked extremely hard in his rehab. Sean Eddy's done an unbelievable job with him, our trainer. And just excited for him to get back to 100%. And, I really expect to challenge him to take on a leadership role with this team.
Yeah. Coach KJ Williams, when he pledged, that caused a lot of waves. He was the conference player of the year last year. He really had and tackled a position of need for you guys. And obviously he came out and said it was because of the relationship that you guys had in building over the last couple of years. He felt comfortable to come to Baton Rouge and finish his college career. What did the Tigers get in KJ Williams, and obviously what did it mean to grab him out of the portal in where you guys were?
I'm excited he's going to tolerate me for another year. We recruited him for 2 and coached him for 4. So, a 6-year relationship there. If you go back and look at his statistical development, it's very impressive. He made 1 3 his freshman year. And then, became a guy who was making 5 threes in a game at 6'10", 250. So, all of that stuff is great, but I've really enjoyed watching his growth and development as a man, as a leader. He's obviously very mature now, coming in as the player conference of the year. He's delivered on the biggest stage, but I just love his versatility. Mm-hmm. And he's a great teammate. Guys love playing with him, very unselfish. Can score a variety of ways. Not necessarily a rim protector as a shot blocker, but he is a terrific defender. Was second in our league in steals this year, and a great rebounder as well. So really the total package, at 6'10", 250.
I'd imagine that a ton of the attention has been put on building this roster and getting to this point, and just how challenging of a task that is in itself. But now that you wake up today and you've got 13 on scholarship and your roster looks to be filled going into the offseason, how does the focus switch, or where do you go now?
Well, I think the next couple of weeks, the opportunity to reach out to a lot of former players and people here in the community that you just, in a normal transition, you would have gotten to do a lot more of that earlier. But with just the need to build the roster, that's taken up the majority of our time. But then as you look at the summer, I think it's really critical. And as excited as I am about our roster, all we are is a collection of individuals. Mm-hmm. That's all we are. We have talented individuals, but we got to build a team. Yeah. And so, I talked about those 4 kind of areas of focus and how we broke up the recruiting process to build this roster. Now we got to take those 4 areas and make them one connected team. And I think you have to be very intentional in that. So it's going to be a huge summer for us.
I know you hadn't even been able to put the luggage down here in Baton Rouge to kind of settle in, but you did have a chance to ride around the state with some of the other coaches and Scott Woodward and Stephanie Rimp, and even Cody was there. What was that like for you, kind of getting out and reaching and touching some of the fans around the state of Louisiana?
Oh, it's been awesome. It's been great just seeing, growing up. I'm a diehard SEC guy since the day I was born. So I've always seen the passion and the pride in the LSU program from afar, but to get to experience that, traveling across the state, meeting a lot of fans and generous donors to the program has been great. And it's been a lot of fun getting to spend time with the other coaches. That's one of the reasons I wanted to come here. One of the many reasons is you have the elite coaches in all of college sports here, and the opportunity to learn from them and get better is really exciting for me.
Coach, have you started to even look at next year's schedule, and where is that in the process in building that?
Yeah, we're making progress there. It hasn't been the main focus.
Sure.
Kind of like starting over with the roster. It's the same deal with the schedule. Mm-hmm. The only thing that was set was this tournament in the Cayman Islands, which I'm certainly not complaining about. Right. Will be a nice trip. But no, from there, really want to have a good balance in the schedule. There certainly needs to be a different approach in year one than I hope we'll be in year 2, 3, 4 down the road. We got to build a team. And so there'll be some reflection in the schedule of a coaching staff that took over a program in the SEC with 0 players. But we'll work to where we're getting the Power 5 games and, want to have attractive home-and-home series as we move forward in the future.
Coach, I know you're very busy. I appreciate your time here on this Wednesday morning. Before we get out of here, just a shout-out to your staff, who I know behind the scenes have been working tirelessly to assist you to get to this point where you are this morning with the roster put intact and looking towards the off season. Kind of, if you can, talk about the responsibilities and the hard work of your staff up to this point.
Well, I said it in my first press conference. You win in life with great people, and that was my first call here. And after taking over the program was to attract elite people, elite coaches to our program. Was able to do that. I mean, we have the best of the best. Casey Long, who came with me from Murray State, was instrumental in the development on and off the court of Ja Morant. You have Ronnie Hamilton with SEC experience at Ole Miss. It's just done an unbelievable job spearheading a couple of these high-level recruitments, and great coach too. And Cody Toppert has been fantastic as well, coming in from Memphis. And then our support staff. Brought multiple guys from Murray State who know what winning's all about. They've been fantastic and been able to add some pieces there as well. Of course, I have the mayor of Baton Rouge and Tasman Mitchell doing great work for us. And so it's really, a special group of people, and look forward to the journey ahead with all of them.
And the doctor, Kent Lowe, of course, the man.
That's a legend. You saw the response he got there at the Louisiana Hall of Fame ceremony.
Yeah.
Guy's a legend across the state, across the SEC.
I don't know you have any time for it, but get some sleep, man. You deserve it. Find a house, settle in, get a meal. For God's sakes, it's been an incredible 8-week run for you guys.
No, thanks a lot. Really excited to come on the show, Jordy. People have been great. The welcome we've received has been awesome. And can't wait to get my family down here this summer and get settled in Baton Rouge. And looking forward to that first tailgate party this fall as well.
Absolutely, Coach. Welcome to the South, man. Great work. We look forward to catching up again soon.
All right, Jordy. Thanks so much.
All right, man.
Have a great day.
See you.
Go Tigers.
Yes, sir. There he is, Matt McMahon, checking in from the LSU basketball office this morning. I'd imagine much more relaxed this morning than he has been the previous couple of weeks, as his staff and his roster is intact. Incredible work by Matt McMahon and the LSU basketball staff to get where they are today. That looking at a competitive group on paper that they're going to take into the SEC that feels like they'll be able to compete. Nice work, Stewie, bouncing back on that video call. We want to blame Ben Baby. Do we want to blame Ben Baby?
Blame Ben Baby.
Yeah, it's Ben's
why
fault.
not?
It's definitely Ben's fault. That was fault for sure.
Coach was clear.
Coach was great. That's what I'm saying. I mean,
Coach
it
was
wasn't
clear.
on Stewie.
Coach was great. Even gave him a little early fluster there. I'd imagine that probably aggravated him that we had him on the video call and said we were going to call him. I could see kind of a little squint of the roll of the eye, kind of like these minor leaguers can't get it together, man. They can't get it together. But it was we appreciate him for stopping in on this Wednesday morning. If you missed that conversation, check it out. Compliments of our friends over at RMB. For everybody in here on this Wednesday, make sure and check back in with us tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. For Jamil, for the Carpool Queen, for Stewie and Jack, I'm Jordy Culotta signing off. We'll be back with you. Mikey Matuk and Mic'd Up coming up today at 11 o'clock. Make sure and tune in 11 to 1 o'clock. As last night they were able to
Trey Wingo
get a conversation with Trey Wingo about the PGA Championship coming up this weekend in Oklahoma. All right, have a great Wednesday. Make sure and hit that like button, share button, comment button. We'll be back with you tomorrow morning.